From the time it reached independence in 2011, South Sudan's political struggle has gravely conditioned its population's welfare. However, it didn't become a major armed conflict until 2013, when political fragmentation between President Kiir and former Vice President Riek Machar led to an escalation of violence between Dinka ethnic group backing the president and Nuer ethnic group backing the Vice President Machar. It is since then that civilians are constantly suffering the consequences, specifically those vulnerable communities such as women and children, who are eventually targets of sexual violence, rape, abductions, and recruitments by state forces and militias. It is not only the action of the uncontrolled armed groups of the opposition what matters the most, but that certainly the government itself is one of the many recruiters of children for war purposes, and that it has openly permitted militias to rape women because it couldn't pay their salaries. Hitherto, more than 50,000 people have been killed, and nearly 2 million people are currently internally displaced, having no protection of a strong government. Given the systematic attacks on infrastructures, humanitarian agencies and plantations, farmers are no longer able to produce all the food that is needed. Consequently, South Sudan is facing one of the worst food shortages that any nation has experienced. Additionally, the confrontation between parties involved may cause a negative impact in the region, as neighboring countries are eventually affected due to more than 60,000 people are seeking for refuge abroad. Despite of the intermittent negotiations, a peace agreement reached in August and a subsequent ceasefire declaration, conflict is still a matter of concern for the international community, as it seems far from having an end. Although all parties involved in the armed conflict have systematically violated international human rights and international humanitarian law, none of the perpetrators have yet been accountable for their crimes, which amount to war crimes, and may constitute crimes against humanity that the International Criminal Court could assess under a formal petition by the UN Security Council. It is precisely when we look at the consequences of war on civilians that we can see more clearly the vital importance of conflict analysis studies. We come back down from abstract concepts and theories to real names, real faces. Close stories overcome distant history, and figures become people. Conflict resolution is important precisely for this, because we are talking about people. We are talking about preventing and palliating human suffering. We are talking about saving lives.